What's going on, workforce? Bryan here, and spoiler alert. Like right now, beware. We are going to talk about the story of Final Fantasy XIV. The latest trailer just dropped out at E3, and oh my gosh, the implications from the story and the lore are just unbelievable. So I just want to give you that spoiler warning right now. If you have not finished Stormblood, please maybe come back after you finish that game, that story. However, if you're looking for a summary of the story of 14, I'm also going to touch on that here. I'm not going to be able to cover just the wealth of the base game, the expansions 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, but I'm going to try to do it as much justice as I can, because everything that we see in this video has a resonating impact. It actually reveals and teases so much more about the world, answers so many questions that I don't want to get into all of it just yet. So this is going to be a story summary. This is also going to be a rewind theater talking about the latest story trailer. In the links below, you can find just this trailer without my commentary. If you want to watch it for yourselves, it is truly magnificent. I cannot praise it enough. So that is the warning. Let's dive in. Before I actually start to let this play, it is important to note what is going on in Final Fantasy XIV. If you're new to the game, if you skip the cutscenes, or maybe you need a refresher, note that over 12,000 years ago, Hydaelyn and Zodiark, they were kind of, I guess, chilling, hanging out, having a good time. And then we've been told Zodiark started to try to seize more power. And so Hydaelyn banished him. Doing so, it's called the Sundering. So whenever you hear the NPCs talk about the Sundering, note it happened 12,000 years ago, and now we are here. So the Sundering happens, and Hydaelyn creates 13 shards, or copies of the source. So you have 13 shards, and you have the source. We, as the player character, live on the source. This is kind of where everything was copied from. But because this happened so long ago, every different copy, every different shard has its own history. And that's where we're going to, when we go and visit the first in Shadowbringers, that's where things are going to seem different. They've evolved differently. They've had different events. They have a different history. They have different, a world all in and of itself. So we're going to, be challenged by that. We're going to see familiar ideas, but we're going to see it twisted in a way that's unfamiliar and scary or new and exciting. So it's really going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So, like I said, 13 shards. We've already been to one of the shards, the 13th shard. Through the Crystal Tower storyline, we learned that the Algian Empire was communing with the Cloud of Darkness, using that void power to power their empire. And that's kind of, well, not going to touch on the moon and Muhammad. So anyway, note that there's a lot there that I'm not talking about right now. But if you guys want me to go into a more depth post, let me know. Beyond that, we've actually been to the World of Darkness. That is the 13th shard. That shard has been collapsed. It has been overrun by darkness. What we are going to see here, and what we've been teased at, is that the first shard is being overrun by light. If you play through the Heavensward story, we've already seen that with the Warriors of Darkness coming over and Menphelia going back with them to help trying to even out that balance. Light is overtaking the first, and if it falls, that's one more shard that falls. So we have to talk a little bit about calamities really quick. A calamity, we've had 7 of them. 6 representing one of each of the elements going back throughout time. These are orchestrated events by Ascians, agents of Zodiark. So again, Hydaelyn and Zodiark. And why am I touching on this? Just wait until we actually start getting into this trailer. So every time there's a calamity, a shard falls. Hydaelyn has to absorb, I guess, the energy of the shard, the aether of that shard, essentially mass genociding an entire population with its own history, the size of us. It's just brutal when you really think about it. Genociding that shard to refuel her power. And the Ascians believe that with enough of these calamities, that finally Zodiark will be able to return in full form. So, are you caught up? We've had 7 of them. Bahamut being the 7th, representing all 7 elements. So we said there are 13, so we've systematically seen these shards fall. We know, and we've been to the 13th. We're going to the first, light and darkness. Okay. And we know the Crystal Tower plays a part because we've been there. Now, we originally were assuming that because of the Algian Empire's connection with the Cloud of Darkness, that's why we got to cross over into it. But it apparently is going to be obviously our kind of a portal gate, I think our Stargate, if you will, into that. Now, this trailer is going to reveal a lot about what's going on here. I'm about to jump into that. Now, throughout Heaven's Word, we kind of dealt with the story of the dragons and how Aether kind of impacts them and how we can become primals. We saw that obviously with Shiva. We saw that with I'm going to call him the Pope, and that's what that is. Through Stormblood, we've obviously had this conflict, with this kind of the war, the Tale of Two Cities, with us fighting off the Empire, and obviously it seems like everything is building to a calamity. So enter the scene. Let's go ahead and start from the start of this video. Again, guys, that was an incredibly brief history of Final Fantasy XIV. And I wanted to kind of bring that up because a lot of what we were going to see here with the Ascians really comes to play. We're going to kind of jump around this video. We probably might watch it 2 or 3 times. I'm not doing a script. I am literally just giving you the information.
The oldest joke in the book.
The oldest joke in the book. That's a fun line.
Pray tell, did we last have a dark night? Over 100 bleeding years ago. That's when.
All right, so it's now known that it's been over 100 years since they've had any nighttime. One of the things we're going to be doing as the Warrior Darkness is bringing about the nighttime. And we see some images here. We're going to kind of scroll back here. You see some kind of cave dwellings. You see Hydaelyn right here, represented by white, we assume. We see Zodiark right here, represented by darkness. And there is some star, essentially, right here, painted on the cave walls. Again, we see a somewhat form of Zodiark, again, itself, that we're seeing represented, unless these are actually representing other things. Maybe they are. Let's talk about it as we kind of go through it. 100 years of just bathing in light. Go to the Nordic countries, and when the sun doesn't set in the summer, man, I tell you, it's hard to sleep. So this is a gorgeous image. Obviously, I had it open at the first. For me, this obviously paints, like, from what we've seen in the images themselves that they teased with kind of the world, it's off tilt. The image isn't taken off center. It is literally right here. And we're getting that feeling. The joke that, that was made is the last person who's casting Protect here, but we'll go into it. So we're seeing this flood of light. We're going to hear that expression, the flood of light. Kind of makes me really draw back into kind of that concept of Halo, like just an overwhelming force that feels just like if you've been hit by a wave of water, that it has such power, and that's what they're depicting with essentially light here. It is just overpowering. It's uncontrollable. It's super destructive. I'm going to guess this is some form of Minfilia at this moment, trying to do her best to quell the flood of light. That's what she went back to do with the Warriors of Darkness. So, and that's what this image is essentially representing. But it also feels like this is painted on a cave wall. Like this is a history story here, that this is something that's happened further in the past than maybe to when we're seeing it itself. And so the story maybe of what's been going on has been painted onto these walls so that they would be preserved to us, because time is about to be an important factor here.
Chaotic no man's land between realms. Time and space war and blend in unexpected ways. So
in between the world between realms, time and space blend in unpredicted ways. So this is telling us that whether we are traveling through time or not, that it doesn't necessarily, it's not linear in our understanding of it, our human conceptual nature that is kind of linear time. It's like perhaps essentially you're passing outside of time, and therefore there's unpredicted properties. This is something that from a kind of a Christocentric point of view, like if you're going to relate this kind of as a worldview of what, God might be, is that he is being itself, existence itself that exists outside of time, and time is almost kind of spherical or a bubble. I'm doing that horrible justice, but I'm just trying to set and paint some kind of way to think about it. I don't know if you've given a lot of thought to time, but I think about time all the time.
What Urianger saw.
So in the background, in the echo that's playing right here, you're hearing the speech that the Warriors of Darkness gave. They gave everything that was asked of them. They were the champions of this world, and and they helped destroy all darkness so that there was nothing fighting it back against the light. And so the world is coming to an end. The light has become too powerful. It is out of balance and it's out of whack. And obviously it's going to be an interesting thing that whatever ends up following Shadowbringers is that, are we trying to be the gray, the warrior of gray, the warrior of neutrality? We'll have to wait and see. But you can see here, obviously, from the trailer, the Seraph, the Lion, the Sin Eaters, essentially what they're called, what we've learned that they're called. They are depicted right here. Again, on what looks to be kind of the cave painting. You see here the flood of light down here and the city down below. It's beautiful, artistic.
Was the future.
All right. So back again, what we missed and I kind of was talking through. So as time and space kind of blends, he goes in here and he starts talking about what Oriange saw, and he says that it's the future.
Was the future.
So when we probably come into contact with the Oriange, if he's seen the future, like this is for me kind of a game-changing moment, a game-changing idea. Namely because they talk about in the trailer what is written, we have to undo. And I've been thinking this whole time that we have to undo the Sundering. Again, why I brought it up in the beginning of this video. So we have to undo the Sundering. That has huge ramifications. That means no more shards. That all kind of undoes what it did. The no more mass genocide to bring about Zodiark, but he's back, etc. Don't know really what that implication is. But here's the other twist. Here's the other way they go about it is that Oriange has seen the future. He's communicated to us. We know that, we have to prevent it in such way. Obviously, we're going to wonder if we're going to get into a little bit of Oedipus here, in which that by trying to prevent the future, do we actually bring it about? But the Warrior in Darkness in me says that it's going to be an interesting journey regardless. But I think it's a small nod, but it's an interesting tease as to really where our mission comes from. Because if Oriange has seen the future, and whether like he's seen that we've undone it or that we have to change the future in some way, then that's going to obviously put us on an important quest here, if it wasn't already important enough. So here we have some amazing footage fighting off against the Sin Eaters, and then you see the Crystarium.
That's how the Sin Eaters came to be.
All right, this is important.
They were once living creatures, or people, that were caught in the path of the flood.
So that's how the Sin Eaters came to be. They were once creatures or people that were caught in the path of the flood. Back again to the cave painting with the flood of light. So if anybody who was caught into that, that's how they became a Sin Eater.
Came to be.
And
they were once living creatures.
They are what is one of the things plaguing this world, right? They've been twisted by Hydaelyn. Like, it's like the questions are, is Hydaelyn good in and of itself? We don't know, and that's one of the mysteries that we hope to see. So we see across time and space, a voice beckons, the warrior of light. Yes.
The eternal light of these creatures has confounded us for nigh on 100 years. For each we have put down, another has risen up in its place, born of the self-same ether, relinquished by its predecessor.
Super key here. So every time that they put down a Sin Eater, another one comes up in its place, but it's born of the same ether, the same material, essentially. We've seen this already before when we were taking on Leviathan, that in which that essentially he was the creature was transferring his ether from one creature to another. In this case, though, that you put him down and it doesn't appear like they're possessing anything else, they just reform. So they're an endless, undying army of light. They're an endless army of Sin Eaters, and obviously he says they've been confounded for the past 100 years. It's almost like they're setting the stage that at least these people believe it's an unwinnable war, because maybe they're fighting light with light. Maybe these people have all been attuned to Hydaelyn, or whatever that ends up meaning. We'll talk about it here at the end, because spoiler alert, it gets pretty hectic here in a minute, guys. So here we see the last city. We see some Sin Eaters.
That's Vol 3.
So this is Vol 3. This guy looks pretty Jabba the Hutt. You can see his rings listed on his giant, enormous hand next to his pet lion with his pet, Sin Eater thing that's petting him. Very Jabba the Hutt, very Star Wars-esque.
Sin Eaters are part of Yulmor's society.
but they must be fed with ether.
So Sin Eaters are actually a part of their society, and they have to be fed with ether. So this society that's grown to fight them, I don't know if they're fighting them anymore at this point. It sounds like maybe they have essentially succumbed to this human sacrifice, sacrificing people and animals for them. Because essentially, if you guys don't know, ether, it's like everything's comprised of it. It is the source of life. People say that as you get old, your ether gets weak, but that's why you eat food to replenish the ether in your body. Ether is life. Life is ether. It's the life stream kind of concept there.
Living ether.
So he clarifies with living ether, and this is why it's important. So they obviously are doing living human sacrifice. That's where this is different. They can't just feed these creatures food. They have to feed them people. How sick and twisted is this? This is insane. Obviously, the hero, us in this case, does not agree with that. That's a good move. That's like, you're a monster. However, we also see here with Alphino that he is holding us back. He said he's staying us with his hand at this moment. This implicates that as a tactician, as somebody who's grown in leadership, that we've witnessed over the last several expansions, who's taken on a more tactical and a more strategic and maybe even a more political role, who's someone who doesn't, it's like, anyway, he's staying us. Now, as to why, hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing how this scene plays out. But obviously, he doesn't want us to strike this guy dead right away. So the truth must be known. Thank you very much. I 100% agree. Get some more awesome gameplay footage, guys, of all of our friends. Looks kind of like Menphilia. Let's go back to that 1 second. We're going to get back to that. Like, this is certainly something that has plagued me this time. I don't know. Let me know if, like, for me, I get the impression of it's Menphilia growing up without the hood. She's obviously younger, so that's why I'm thinking Menphilia, but I can't see from her eyes if they're essentially blue from here. Let me know what your thoughts are, especially if anybody speculated who this individual is. That's going to be my guess, and we'll kind of go with that from there.
This world is beyond saving.
So they say this world is beyond saving, and then it cuts kind of to this, and we'll let that play out. But I love this image here of obviously the six elements, how they relate, umbral and astral here as well, the sun and the moon, and obviously the planet itself. And so that's just that's a beautiful thing. The tree here in the center. Ethis did a kind of a post talking about Jewish mysticism, and it wasn't this drawing. Obviously, this is very Final Fantasy XIV-esque, but that's essentially what this kind of calls back. I'll see if I can't find that video and put it in the link in the description. Or guys, if you have it, please be sure to leave it in chat. Really great video by Ethis. If you haven't seen it, it's really cool. So let's go ahead and let this play out for a second.
This world is beyond saving. Like those who try to save it. This world has had its fill of heroes.
This world is beyond saving, like the hero, or like the people before. This world has had its fill of heroes. It seems like essentially they have come to a hopeless point in reality. They have basically just said, the end is here. We might as well go out with a bang. Human sacrifice, great. It's like heroes we're going to be stepping in a world that's not going to be welcoming us and championing us. They're going to be looking at us as like all the heroes over the last 100 years have come and let them down. Seems like a world being flooded by light, lost to hope. And so we must, in this case, harness the power of light and dark. So it's going to be a sticky situation. Obviously, we've seen that with Alphino and his tactical skill there, just with the staying. It's going to be important to see. Let's keep going. Oh yes, the Emperor. Some gameplay, some just beautiful imagery, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so in love with the visuals. That angel looks amazing. So freaking incredible. There we go. We'll just call back to a couple people here. The Shadow Hunter. Looks like I would venture to bet. That is somebody we know well. We know that he's an elf. He might be visibly a little bit different. I don't know if it's going to come into play. But I would say that this guy's important. It's going to be a horrible guess. I definitely probably be wrong. But I'm thinking some kind of tie-in with Xenos. We haven't seen the Shadow Hunter obviously on the first, so I don't know if this is taking place back on the source. But I'm gonna guess that probably easily proven wrong not too long from now. Oh yeah, and there's the Tower of Light. So we got a lot of jump cuts here. We got a lot of jump cuts. So we saw them. Boom. Let's see if we can't frame it up a little bit. You kind of see here they're in the Crystal Tower. And then he hits the staff, and all of a sudden we're transported to pretty much the gateway portal. And you can see, it looks like, I would say, Alizé and Alphino right here, along with the Warrior of Darkness, aka us in this case. It'd be interesting to see.
Everything we did, everything we gave, what was it for?
So everything we did, everything we gave, what was it for? This is, to me, sounds like it's obviously the Warrior of Darkness defeated. I mean, it's like that is the mindset. Like the sacrifice they made, they've had no progress, they've had no success. The world is ending. They're questioning their allegiances, they're questioning their decisions. It's really, hopefully, a place that, as a Warrior of Darkness, we can bring and restore hope. The time has come. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, guys, I can't express to you. To shatter the tyranny of light. I love these moves. I cannot wait for you guys to go hands-on with it. Become what you must.
How many years have I waited for this moment?
Hold on, we actually, this is getting important right here. So earlier, when I was talking about, I was thinking that was Minfilia. You can see Minfilia here, and you can also see the same lady, and she has daggers. Essentially, we know Minfilia from the Trust System is a ninja. So I'm wondering what the representation here is obviously Minfilia that we've known. And is this a younger version of her? How does this apply with Ether? We've seen the light, the Sin Eaters being able to recompose themselves. Wondering, oh man, we can only speculate. It looks like they're obviously being bathed in light. I don't know if that's just a visual effect of the cutscene, but we will have to wait and see.
How many years have I waited for this?
How many years have I waited? Just look at this, guys. I'm just slowly walking. She's trepid. Just all of that in the background is phenomenal. You got Oriange, Alphino, Y'shtola. Looks like Minfilia down here. Why am I drawing a blank? Thancred. Alizé right there. So it looks like our crew.
Have I waited for this moment?
How many years have I waited for this moment? Become the Warrior of Darkness.
Possessed of her blessing.
The one possessed of her blessing.
For you.
For you. Shadowbringers. I mean, guys.
Through prayer and sacrifice, the will of the star was made manifest.
I'm sorry, I can only assume I misheard. But it sounded an awful lot like you were implying
Back to
both
the cave
Zodiac
paintings.
and Hydaelyn are not gods. But
They are gods after a fashion, yes. The eldest and most powerful of primals.
So, all right. There's some huge implications to that. I'm going to go ahead and trust him that he's telling the truth, right? Because, people can lie. But let's go ahead and just say, what reason does he have to lie, right? So we're going to go and trust him. So we get back to the cave paintings. And then they're saying, oh, are they gods? Is Hydaelyn and Zodiac gods? And he's like, no. They're gods in a sense. If you're thinking of a god as a being of just this epic power. All right, great. But they are the eldest and most powerful of primals. So when we met Ifrit back in the 2.0 storyline, he tried to temper us. What's tempering? Tempering is when a primal basically makes you their thrall. You are theirs forever. You serve their will forever. Your choices are not your own. You are you are Ifrits. And the way that they've had to deal with these people is had to murder them. They've put them down. There is no cure for tempering. You get tempered. That's why it is so important and it's so scary when something is summoned. When these beastmen have summoned because they've been tempered. And then that summoning can also then temper others, therefore making them even more powerful. It's kind of like a cascading effect. The more worshippers they have, the stronger, they can become. The more people who believe in them, that in and of itself feeds into the manifestation of these primals. So, that being said, we weren't able to be tempered. Ifrit said that we have been tempered already by Hydaelyn. Kind of making note of it like, okay, like the Echo is protecting us. But if it is true that Hydaelyn herself is a primal, Zodiark himself is a primal, and we are going from one to the other, does this mean that we have found a way to break the tempering and being able to kind of go back and forth to have their blessing, etc.? Don't know. Huge implications there. The other implication, though, them being primals, that obviously in my mind makes it something that's fightable. Obviously, this really kind of helps change all of it. And the why is really the question. Hopefully, when they say the truth must be known, the why of all of it. Why has Hydaelyn tempered us, protected us with the Echo, blessed us with the Echo? That obviously they've waited, for us. One that has been blessed with the Echo of Hydaelyn, naturally, not artificially, aka the Empire. We'll talk about that maybe in another video. So that is what's happening, and that revelation in and of itself, I think, is breathtaking. It's game changing. It's going to have, it calls everything into question. It calls reality almost of the game into question, the story, the characters, and more. And honestly, I think it sets it up in such a hyper fashion. The eldest of primals. Oh man, that I think is such going to be an interesting twist to see where this takes us. I'm gonna let this play out a little bit.
I can only assume I misheard, but it sounded an awful lot like you were implying both Zodiark and Hydaelyn are not gods, but
They are gods after a fashion, yes. The eldest and most powerful of
primals. So, to me, as a warrior of light, that means essentially I'm an agent of Zodiark. An agent of Hydaelyn. And that means the Ascians are agents of Zodiark. And essentially this war, this tiff, or whatever really was the reason for the Sundering, whatever the reason was for that so long ago, is, hopefully we get some answers as to why. What caused it? Did the Zodiark forget your birthday? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Ultimately, these are questions that Shadowbringers needs to answer. I think at this point, especially 9 years into the game's life, this August, we need to know what the Echo is. We need to have these questions answered. And this trailer answers a lot of the questions I had. It flips the script on a lot of things right here. Obviously, Shadowbringers is dropping on July 2nd. 2019. Get your pre-order in right now and play on the 26th. If you're watching after this fact, hopefully this video has been informative. We're going to see what happens as we go into it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to see, I guess, a more and professional deep dive into the story itself, let me know. I would love to make sure that I can help articulate the story and all the moving parts for you guys as well. So, for Work to Game, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, link in the description below. Looking forward to hearing from you. Looking forward to that conversation. I love you much. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey guys, it's me, Bryan. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you're new here, we hope you hit that subscribe button. Check us out. We talk a lot about video games, and we hope to at least hear from you in the comments below. We also try to respond to our comments. We really appreciate the comments, the discussion, all the various points of view that everybody is so kindly, I guess, and politely or impolitely shares with us from time to time. So anyway, guys, again, thanks for watching this video. We hope you hit that like button. We hope you hit that subscribe button. Come back for more content each and every day. We post a lot around here, and we'd love to hear from you about what you like about video games and everything, and especially if you have any questions that you're stuck on and anything. So anyway, signing off. See you next time.